Hi, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. I'm going to demonstrate how to make this little beginner's cross-stitch pillow. But before I get started, did you get a chance to enter my scrap fabric giveaway? If you didn't, I'm going to put the link below your YouTube screen that you can click on. It's my latest JOANN shopping haul video, and I give you all of the information in that. Also, my adorable little grandson makes a special little appearance in there, so you get to see how much he has grown already. So again, it's below your YouTube screen, the JOANN's shopping haul video. Now this little pillow has an Easter theme. There's a little small Easter egg with a bow, a couple of little tulip flowers, and little flower border at the top and bottom. And this is really a beginner's project. And the fabric that I stitched onto it to make it into a pillow is a really easy process. Now, if you're a little more advanced and you want something more challenging than this, by the way, this makes a great little gift, you could do something like this. If you're a little more experienced, this has a tulip border, a larger Easter egg with a bow on it, and you can also put Happy Easter on it. Now I'll show you in a moment the book that I'm using that has all of these patterns in it. So you can do just one, or better yet, do both. Okay, let's get started. If you have a sewing machine, do a zigzag stitch around all four edges. If you don't have a sewing machine, use needle and thread and just do a little whip stitch around the edge to keep the Aida fabric from unraveling. Here is my center. There's a little tiny mark right there that I've put. Let me show you how to easily find the center of your Aida fabric. Fold it in half and press it, and then fold it in half again and then press it. And then take a pencil or a fabric marker and just put a tiny little mark right there on the corner, and that's the center of your Aida fabric. Take the inner ring out of the top ring, set it aside. Take your Aida cloth, and I like to put my little mark on the center. I like to bring it face down. Not everybody does it that way, but that's how I like to do it. And I try to get it kind of in the center of my hoop. Then put the top ring on it and press down firmly. I'm using this tabletop stand for two different reasons. One, it's easier for me to film this video because I don't have to worry about holding onto the hoop and holding it steady. The other reason why I use this is that I have a right hand that doesn't function so well, and it's very hard for me to hold on an embroidery hoop. So if you're interested in buying a hoop or a stand like this, you can find them on the internet, stitchery.com, or even go on Amazon. I took a straight pin and from the back side inserted it where that little mark was for the center. And this way I know where to begin starting to stitch my design. This is the book that I'm working out of. It's called 2001 Cross Stitch Designs by Better Homes and Gardens. You can purchase this off of Amazon.com, and I'll have the link below your YouTube screen. Out of this book, the designs that I'm using, I'm going to use a little bit of this tulip border, and it's on page 131. And then I'm going to use this little Easter egg right here, and it's on page 213. And I want the Easter egg in the very, very center. The DMC floss thread colors that they recommend are listed on page 212, but you can use any colors that you like. I placed the book inside of my photocopier printer and enlarged it so that it would be really easy for me to see. Another reason why I like to do that is every time I complete a stitch, I will select a highlighter and mark across it when I know that I have completed a certain stitch. So when I'm done, I look at it, make sure I didn't forget to do anything. Because I want the Easter egg in the very center, I need to count across how many stitches are going this way and how many rows this way. It is 18 stitches across from here all the way over to the edge of the bow. And from top to bottom, it is 20. So I'm going to go to find my center going this way. So I'm going to count over 9. Remember, it's 18 going across. So 2 into 18 is 9. So count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So here's where the center is. I want to start up here. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, and over 1. This is going to be my first stitch, and I'm going to use the medium rows to start right here. Here is the center, and remember I wanted to count up 1, 2, 3, and then over 1. So I'm just a few stitches starting off center. Go ahead and do your anchor stitch right there. So now I'm going to continue. I'm going to do 1/2 stitch here. Remember, it's always recommended you work from left to right. Then I'm going to go down here and do a 1/2 stitch. I'm following along with the pattern. Now I'm going to complete and make them full stitches. Now, everybody has their own way of doing cross stitch, so you need to do whatever works for you. Because I just went down this hole, if I try to come back up, I'm going to undo my previous stitch. So I'm just going to go back up here and finish the stitch. The next stitch I'm going to do is I'm going to go down 1 row and over 1 and do another stitch. And I'm just going to go ahead and do a full stitch because there aren't any others in that row or right next to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a full stitch here. Now I'm going to skip this row, go down to the next row, and do 5 stitches going across. So, and I'm just doing 1/2 stitches. Now I'm going to go back and finish the stitch. So I'm going to go from the lower right to the upper left and continue across. Now I'm going to go down to the next row and do 3 full stitches. Then go down and skip a row and go over 2 and do a full stitch. Then come down and start over 2 stitches over to the left and do 2 more. Then I went down and did 2 more stitches going down at an angle. So I've just finished down over here. I'm going to go ahead and cut and anchor my thread off down here. And then I'm going to start back over here and finish up all of the medium rose colors on that side. When I'm done with that color, I went ahead and marked off all of the areas that I stitched. And this way, it's much easier to see where you need to start next. I'm now going to start with the carnation color, which is this little squiggly line. After I finished the darker rose color over here, then I went to the carnation or a lighter pink and began stitching on this side of the bow. Now I'm going to go up over to this side and finish this side of the bow with a lighter pink, the carnation. I have finished off the bow, and now I'm going to start stitching the Easter egg, and I'm going to go up this way. So there's going to be, you're going to go up 4 rows. This is the 4th row above this first stitch right here and begin doing the dark lavender color. After you have finished the bow, then start with the dark lavender color, and that starts up here. And you're going to go right above this stitch right here, this pink stitch. You're going to count up 4 rows and begin stitching across here. So go ahead and stitch this section and then come down here and do the same thing. And now I'm going to start on the white, which goes across here 1 row and down here 1 row, and then there's white also scattered throughout the bow area. I have just finished all of the cross stitches in the egg and the bow itself. Now you're going to do outline stitches around the bow and the egg itself, and refer to the color thread chart for the appropriate thread color. And remember, you only use 1 strand of embroidery floss when you do your outline back stitches. I'm now going to place the tulip flowers on each side of the Easter egg. The tulip flower is 7 stitches wide, and then I left 3 empty spaces in between where the egg is. So from the egg, you want to go over 10 stitches to start, and I placed the bottom of the flower stem and leaves even with the bottom of the Easter egg. I'm going to do a very simple flower border around this. So my very first flower up here, I placed in the center. So the center of my design is the second stitch over from here. So go over 1, then count up 1, 2, 3, and do a stitch here, 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 and here. So you're doing 4 stitches in a little circle. Don't put 1 in the center for now. Here's my center one. So I went over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this way, and then I went over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this way. Then I repeated the pattern down along the bottom. In the center, you can put any color you like. I'm going to put yellow right in the center of each of the flowers. Well, here it is. This is what it looks like when it's all done. Now trim any excess Aida cloth off that you don't want on there. For instance, my piece, I cut it down to about 5 inches by 6 inches, I think is what it was. But I wanted 1 1/4 inches to come out from the edge of the design on all 4 sides. So I put the 1 1/4 inch line on the edge there and trimmed it off, or whatever width you want. Always make sure you add a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So if you only want 1 inch of Aida fabric there, then add a 1/4 inch to that, so that you will have that seam allowance in there in the fabric. Then on the back, I have white fabric. The reason for that is that I used 11 count Aida cloth, and you can kind of see the holes more than you could with 14 count Aida cloth. And so I wanted to kind of cover up those holes from the back side. So that's why I did that. Then I zigzag stitch those 2 pieces of fabric together because on the edges, because I didn't want the Aida cloth to unravel. Next is you want to cut some fabric strips that are 1 3/4 inches wide. So I would measure this edge here and here and cut that strip about 1/2 inch longer than whatever your edge measures. Then place those strips on top and then stitch 1/4 inch seam. And you do the same thing over here. Lay it on top, front sides together, and stitch 1/4 inch seam. Now trim the excess fabric off at each end, and you want to line your ruler up along the edge of your Aida fabric so that you have an exact fit, and then go ahead and trim it off. and do the same thing on the other side. Cut 2 more strips that are 1 3/4 inches wide, and again, cut them longer than your last 2 edges. Bring them on top, line them up on the edge, stitch 1/4 inch seam, and do the same thing on the other side. And then when you're done, just press your edges. After you're done stitching, press your seams on the back side, then unfold and press them on top. Then go ahead and trim off your excess fabric on each side there, on each of the corners. Just line up your ruler and trim it off, and do the same thing on the other side. I'm using the same fabric for the back of the pillow, and here is the back side of the fabric, and then here is the front side, the pretty side that shows the print really nice. Leave that facing up. Take your cross stitch design and turn it over face down onto your fabric. Then cut the back fabric to be an exact size of the front of your pillow. So place your ruler on the edge there, and then go ahead and trim all 4 sides. Place pins around all 4 sides, holding the front and back fabrics together. Leave a small opening right here. And what I like to do is on this side of the opening, I like to place 2 pins, and that's a reminder to me that that's where I need to stop. So on each side of the opening, you do a back stitch. So back stitch here, stitch down to this corner, and go all the way around all 4 sides, stop here, and back stitch. At all 4 corners, you want to trim some of the fabric off. This way the corners will lay a little bit flatter. They won't be quite so bulky. So go ahead, and I usually trim straight across this way, so that it looks like that. Then I'll take just a little bit more off of each side. I'm just trying to get some of the excess fabric out of the way so that my corners will lay better, and then trim this side also. Do that at all 4 corners. Reach inside your opening and begin turning it front side out. Press all of your edges flat. Then place a few pins around the interseam right here. You're going to be stitching right along here, but again, you need to leave an opening. So put a pin on each side of your opening, back stitch just a little bit, and you're stitching right in here close to the fabric, stitching right in the ditch that's on top of the seam on all 4 edges except over your opening. I'm using polyfill polyester stuffing, and you kind of want to break it into smaller pieces before you insert it in. Just take a little bit at a time so that it's easier to place it. Push it in through your opening here, and I always like to go fill in my corners first. So take it, push it to where it goes right into your corners. So fill in all the corners first, then go ahead and fill in the rest of the pillow. Place pins to hold your opening closed. Then use matching thread and stitch close to the edge all the way across here. And then stitch right along this seam to close up the inside opening. And then you're all done. Here's the front of it, and then here's the back. I think this is really cute, and this would make a nice little gift for someone. I really enjoyed showing you how to do this. These make great little gifts. And also, these little pillows are also something you should think about making for Mother's Day or other special occasions. So if you need to know more information about how to get started into cross stitch, if you've never done it before, check below the YouTube screen for the video links on my cross stitch lessons. Now don't forget to follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thanks for watching. See you next time, and happy sewing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click on the thumbs up button, and don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, click on that red subscribe button down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Click on the bell so you can receive notifications about my latest videos. I'm Cheryl, and this is Scotty, and this is Manny. See you next time, and happy sewing!